There is often a gap between the tastes of people who are practitioners of a particular art and those who are consumers of it. I think this is something that is best demonstrated by examples. I'm going to give you two specific examples from my experience. In the early 1980s, I took guitar lessons for a while. And my teacher was a guitarist in the local Cincinnati area. He's actually still, he's obviously older, but he's still active in the scene. He was 26 at the time. And we would have conversations about the different, when he was giving, these were one-on-one lessons. They were $5 for a half-hour lesson. That was what guitar lessons cost in 1982. But anyway, we would talk about different guitarists that I like and he liked. And this was at a time when AC/DC was kind of at the height of their commercial popularity. Like if you remember the Back in Black album that came out, I think like in 1980, and a few after that, they were definitely at their high point. And my guitar teacher, who again was only 26 himself at the time, I asked him, "What do you think about AC/DC?" And he said, "That's the only rock band that I hate." And I was very surprised because everybody liked AC/DC. And I asked him why, and he explained to me it was because they tend to use very simple chord structures and so on. And he he kind of ran me through his reasoning, and it made sense from a technical perspective. And then I said, "Well, who do you like?" And he says, "Well, he says Jeff Beck." Now, Jeff Beck was somebody I had not even heard of, and I am familiar with. I know who Jeff Beck is now, but Jeff Beck, a very skilled guitarist, but he everybody I've met who is a really ardent Jeff Beck fan is a guitarist themselves. He's kind of the guitarist's guitarist. But meanwhile, it was, AC/DC was there among people who, cleaning up among people who didn't play guitar and probably had no aspirations for doing so. Now, fast forward a few years, 1986. I'm a freshman in college and was taking a literature class. And my professor, um, who was he was introducing us to some different books and things. And at this time, I was reading a lot of popular novelists like Stephen King was. This was right around the time It came out. James Clavell, Tom Clancy. Those were the popular novelists who were big at that time. And I asked him which novelist he liked the best, and he said Saul Bellow. And I uh, I didn't know who Saul Bellow was at the time. I do know now. I've sampled some of Saul Bellow's books. They're kind of dull, to be honest. There's a few that are not bad, but I found that Saul Bellow tends to be the English professor's favorite novelist, the academic's favorite novelist. And I see this too sometimes in the writing community when I'm looking different forums online. There tends to be a lot of disdain for James Patterson and Clive Cussler, for example. But James Patterson and Clive Cussler have sold a lot of books over the years. Something to think about.